intrigues inside hand palace to monarchies with an aura of secrets, conspiracies, and many things as we are seeing now in the case of Kate Middleton. Today I come to talk to you about something you have sent me and that I found interesting to comment on. Do William and Harry, the sons of Charles III and Lady Di, have a secret sister? Let's unravel this legend because apparently what initially arose as a farce could have signs of reality. Her name is Sarah Spencer. Now I will show you a photo in which you can see a bit of the resemblance of. And well, to say that at the time, the Daily Mail, one of the newspapers closest to the Windsor family, to Buckingham Palace, through their royal rota journalists, decided to end this by indicating that it was a scam, something invented by the newspaper The Globe, who released this exclusive many years ago, saying that they simply based it on a novel to tell the story of this girl. I am going to tell it now because I will give you a preview of the news. This girl exists. Never fully accepted by the royalty and Queen Elizabeth II, Lady Di and her marriage to the now King Charles III of England was eternally surrounded by controversy. Many rumors surrounded the couple over the years, rumors that even included their children. However, now that Charles III, after his coronation, has revealed that he is ill with cancer, a new, an old rumor has arisen that if confirmed would be, well, here they say terrible, I wouldn't be the word I would use, but well, it would be an unrecognized daughter of both. They say that the royalty has hidden different members of the royal family throughout history for various situations or circumstances, an old practice that nowadays one would think no longer has a place, but apparently the British royal family has more secrets than we can imagine. The name of who would be the recognized daughter of Lady Di and King Charles III is Sarah Spencer. She would be the elder sister of William and Harry. Certain typical aberrations of royal houses are not surprising, but once again it would be believed that those corresponded to medieval times. In the case of the unrecognized daughter of King Charles III with Diana of Wales, Sarah would have been the product of assisted fertilization. The goal of this practice would have been to reliably know that Lady Di could become pregnant and thus continue the royal lineage just before she married Charles III. The Globe newspaper, an American newspaper, claims that at the time King Charles III got engaged to Diana, she must have undergone this invasive surgical intervention in which her eggs had to be extracted to be fertilized with the genetic material of Charles III, a test that aimed to know in advance that heirs could exist from the couple. This same theory, developed in that publication, says that the order was that this egg from ADD already fertilized with the genetic load of King Charles III had to be destroyed once the objective was confirmed. However, one of the involved doctors, perhaps out of scientific ambition or perhaps due to some moral burden, stole the egg and continued with the incubation process. This, according to the story, resulted in the birth of Sarah Spencer. Although everything was kept secret, at that time there was no internet, or at least not domestically. It was only used within defense, and she would be an unrecognized daughter of the marriage. Notice how bizarre the story is. Normally when we talk about unrecognized children, it is assumed that the mother had them. Well, had the son or daughter alone, the father was not there, and that's it. Here we are talking about a totally bizarre plot that mixes science, medical conspiracy. Amazing. We will analyze it now when I finish telling the story. The Globe publication also states that Sarah Spencer did not know that her parents were none other than the King of England and Lady Di until after her mother died in a tragic accident, that is, after 97. Upon learning of the existence of a possible sister, Prince William appeared alongside his wife Kate Middleton at Sarah's residence. According to sources, Kate was shocked by Spencer's resemblance to Lady Di, the unrecognized daughter of King Charles III. After her story became public, she had to change residence and live almost clandestinely to avoid media harassment. Very strong, very strong. Now I am going to give a bit of the other side. The other side is that the Daily Mail said this belonged to the plot of a novel that really exists, but it was published after the supposed birth of this girl. This girl exists. It is true that with a quick Google search, probably if you type Sarah Spencer you will find Lady Di's sister, but you will not find this girl, or if you find this girl you will find news related to what I just told you. If you search a bit on social networks it might be easier to find her. I have seen a photo of her now. It is true that she bears a huge resemblance to Lady Di, and personally I see features not so much of Charles III but a certain resemblance to Harry. This is the girl. That is not a current photo, it is a photo from when this story was released by the American media. You can see a resemblance. There is a better photo but well in which her face is compared both to Lady Di and Charles III. And she has some facial features somewhat like Lady Di's face. The nose, of course, that Lady Di's photo is a bit older. But if you look at the last years of her life, yes, there is a strong resemblance. In the features, in the morphology of the face and maybe in the little eyes is where I see the resemblance especially to Harry. Also in the photos I have seen now of her older which I cannot publish because they come from a private profile. But as I say, if you look for her you will find her. I do see both the eyes and the mouth and some gesture that I see in some photo that reminds me a lot of Harry. To Prince Charles here in this photo I don't see much resemblance. This is the cover of the Globe newspaper that was released at the time. The secret daughter of Princess Diana, and well, it's true, I mean it could be one of those actresses who have portrayed her throughout her life. They all coincide a bit. Well, they are blondes with light eyes, but well, I don't know if you see a resemblance or not. This is not a current photo, it would be a photo according to AI of what an aged version of this girl would look like. I call her girl because I think she is not yet 45 years old. In the photos I have seen I see her still looking young. I mean, the photo I have seen is the photo of the girl that appeared on the cover of that media, but this photo is made with artificial intelligence based on her face and well, I think you can see here a certain resemblance. Both to Lady Di and Charles III. To Charles III in that look and to Lady Di, well, the truth is that they also gave her the same hairstyle. But well, yes, there is a resemblance, right? Buckingham Palace has not commented on this, but it is true that they asked a friend of Lady Di, specifically Lady Boker, who confirmed that she was subjected to a gynecological examination before announcing her engagement to Prince Charles. She said Lady Di told her they made her get checked before letting her marry him. And it is said that the person who could have performed this exam on the princess was George Pinker, Queen Elizabeth II's gynecologist, but the goal was evidently to confirm that she would have no problems having children but not to extract eggs or much less fertilize them. Experts from the Royal Rota came out to deny all this because there was a scandal at the time with the photo of this girl and well, according to them, they offered conclusive evidence saying that in reality it was a photo of Princess Diana edited with Photoshop, the photos we have seen on the cover. I really wouldn't say that photo is edited with Photoshop. This happened several years ago. There was no artificial intelligence and obviously it is difficult. Also the girl fits a bit the appearance of the age she had at that moment, the hairstyle also of the period we are talking about now. The year 2000 has already passed, so they set out to deny all this, but as usual with these tabloids, each one ended up saying a different thing. Regarding the novel on which they said it was based, the author herself stated that her story was fiction, but that there could be a touch of truth, leaving the topic open to speculation. It would not be strange nor the first time we see in a novel something that is being told, and that is really happening in reality, but they give other names to the characters, invent a fictional world, and effectively fictionalize a reality. For me, this does not deny anything. Where I am more skeptical is in the whole matter of the medical conspiracy, because in vitro fertilization did not start to be done until 1978 and barely 3-4 years later it is the royal family. The English royal family that makes use of all this. I don't know, honestly I have to say, well, you might wonder if this girl has a family. Well, this girl initially has no parents. Parents, of course, since she is not recognized, I imagine she would have been adopted. The story that the Globe presents says that she found out about her origin when her parents died, that she found a diary in which such a revelation was written. This diary thing is very British, although we might think not, there are people who really do all this. She took it to a meeting she had with her biological father, Prince Charles, and blamed him for having killed her mother. And then the rumor started that William asked Kate Middleton to meet the supposed Sarah Spencer during a trip to New York. It says William was surprised when Kate told him that it was a spectacular image of his mother and that she could really be his sister. That is, as far as we know, the children having found out about this would have been when they were adults. It says Kate was impressed with the resemblance, that she also told William, it says she looks a lot like you, and in this sense I say again that Buckingham Palace has never dared to say anything about it. And the curious thing is that the British media who really liked these conspiracies, because look at what happened with Rose Hambury who released it were them, not the foreign press. Well, here we stay quiet, the only thing we do is deny, saying Photoshop this and that. Very weak excuses to deny. I would go another way if really. But well, I have to say that this girl's profile on social networks exists. Tall, elegant, and the living image of Princess Diana. I will see if they say something else here. About the royal Rhoda, well, I don't know if you knew this girl, I don't know what you think about the story. Well, now that we are talking about succession, regency, abdication, it would seem to me an important scenario to explore, certainly. And with everything surrounding right now, it would be, if not a scandal, at least a pretty interesting story, because even as an urban legend it also has its funny side. This girl is on 2 social networks. 3 social networks I am seeing here. On these 3 social networks, on one of them she shares life with her family. She is living in the United States and I stay here. But what strikes me is that all these things are not strange when we remember, for example, Meghan Markle, who has stepbrothers with whom she has no relationship. But for example, she has a relationship, and there she considers as a sort of little sister the daughter of her stepsister. Which would not be strange, and I already say that except for the scientific issue and the medical conspiracy, which is a bit what puts me off, there is a Sarah Spencer on social networks who looks like. Well, I think it is her. The girl on her social networks does not mention anything about the English monarchy or anything. But what I have seen is a resemblance, I would not say incredible, but yes, she resembles Lady Di. To William I don't see so much, and yes, I see Harry and a little bit Charles I, which is a bit what bothers me about the face, because the girl is pretty. But well, this is the story I brought you today. I felt like changing a bit because, of course, as we are all about Kate Middleton conspiracies, I say let's bring out another one, since they say there is another one of, well, we already brought it out, of the secret son of Charles I and Camilla. Well, let's bring out the secret daughter, absolute medical conspiracy of Charles I and Lady Di. I mean, look, if this girl steps forward, we would have another Queen of England. Fantasy, reality, bedtime stories, you decide. Opinions in comments, subscribe, bell, a like in support of the channel, and I leave you here with more videos and on the secondary channel. Thanks for being there.